This is Board Games Insider. More Bonacore, less Vassal. The way it should be.
This is Board Games Insider, where publishers Ignacy Trzewiczek, president of Portal Games, and Stephen Bonacore, president of Stronghold Games, discuss the hobby board game industry from the inside, providing you with news, advice, and a look behind the curtain into both of their companies. Ladies and gentlemen, here are Ignacy and Stephen.
Hello, Ignacy Trzewiczek, Portal Games.
And this is Stephen Bonacore from Stronghold Games and Indie Game Studios. You are listening to episode 133. We are recording this on February 18th, 2020. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And not only can Tom Vassal not predict what's going to happen in the hobby game industry, neither can Ignacy Trzewiczek.
Oh, yeah, you wish.
So this is our annual predictions episode, a little bit later than we usually do it. Sorry about that, everybody. But been very busy and people have been sick. But we love doing this show in general, and we really love doing this episode. And I love beating Ignacy at this little game here. So you did win last year, though. That was your first win.
It was my first win out of the two episodes we did. I just want to admit that in our short history of these special episodes, I have never been so excited. I'm really pumped up. Today I have amazing predictions. I'm basically very proud of myself from my previous predictions from previous year.
Really?
And what I mean is that I was impatient. So I see that some things that I predicted in 2018 or 17 slowly going to happen in the upcoming months. So I'm the master predictor. I'm just impatient.
You just predicted him a little bit early.
Yeah.
So okay. So let's get right into. I don't think we have any theme music for this. We'll just get right into our predictions from 2000. The ones that we did last year, and these were things that we believed were going to happen during 2019. So the first thing is that, Stephen, I said that consolidation will be the theme this year among publishers. So there'll be more publishers will merge or acquire other publishers, like Indie Game Studios with Stronghold Games, Indie Boards and Cards, and Greater Than Games did. And Ignacy agreed with that. He said the market was in the right place. But do you think that really happened last year? I don't think. I mean, certainly Asmodee continued its continuing acquisition of companies. And there were some outside people that did some acquiring, but I don't think we saw more of that, or at least a theme.
I would say that there were a couple of mergers, like there was Greater Than Games buying Cheap Ass Games. I remember that during the Gen Con we had the press release about the merger of two companies as well, but for sure it was not the theme of the year. So it happened a couple of times, but it was not that we saw with every couple of months a new merger.
Right, and the Greater Than Games merger really was announced the previous year, and then it just finally they finally signed the document. So I think that the answer to this is that Stephen got it wrong, but Ignacy agreed. So 0 points for either of us with this first one. Ignacy, why don't you tell us about your first prediction from last year and what happened?
So as I mentioned before, my predictions were a little bit too early. I saw patterns, but I was impatient. So what I said is that the medium-sized company, one with established brand and a few good titles, will go out of the business. Luckily, it didn't happen. We discussed in our podcast, it is a difficult time for the board game publishers. There's too many games, there's too much noise. It is a very difficult time for us. But luckily, so far, everybody is fine or more or less fine. So nobody of the medium-sized companies went out of the business. I'm still worried about the upcoming months. I'm still worried about the future. But I have to say that in terms of the points, is a point for Stephen.
Yeah, so I disagreed. Correct, I disagreed with this, but I do agree with your extra statement there that this was a little early, and I'm not sure what you're going to be predicting in the 2020 predictions. We'll get to that obviously after we recap here, but this one's looking, I think, better and better as in a sad way, looking better as a potential prediction. So 1 point, Stephen. No point, Ignacy. It's 1-0 at the moment. So for my second prediction, I said that Avengers Endgame will be the number one grossing USA film in 2019, as seen on BoxOfficeMojo.com. And Ignacy, you did agree with that, and it was correct by far. Avengers Endgame grossed domestically, USA domestic gross at $858 million, and The Lion King came in second at $543 million. So it was a very great film, a fairly good year in geek films. They did not completely dominate like they have in the past, but the Avengers Endgame was a brilliant film and a great ending to a 21 movie arc. So point Steven and point Ignacy on that one. Right now we're 2-1 Steven. Ignacy, what was your second pick?
I said a wave of traditional publishers who were not using Kickstarter will start using Kickstarter, and there's a sentence added by Steven, I guess. It says, I define a wave of 3 or more publishers to start using Kickstarter.
No, I wrote this because this is what you said. No. I would not add that. You said that you define the wave as 3+ publishers, and that was the agreement. Ignacy, do you think that happened last year?
I think not. We see we see that, of course, Portal Games went for the Kickstarter, but it's not yet a wave. Stronghold Games started going to Kickstarter earlier with your merger with Indie Cousin Boards. We had Colossal Games also doing Kickstarter earlier. So no, I have to admit that there was not a wave. We now can, of course, discuss. Maybe I could find on Board Game Geek that 1 or 2 medium-sized companies went for the Kickstarter for the first time, but still, if you are talking about the trends, and on a serious note, we are talking in this prediction about the trends in the industry, right?
Right.
So I have to admit that there was not a trend of many regular publishers starting Kickstarter. Once again, maybe I was too early to the party, maybe I was just wrong.
And I think we've talked a lot about how Kickstarter is just here to stay, and it's going to continue to be a force, and more people are going to use the platform. So, I mean, I agree with you that your prediction just might be a little bit earlier. We're going to start seeing other bigger publishers or just publishers that we know of will continue to get into it and onto this platform. So, for this one, no point Ignacy, 1 point Steven. We're at 3-1 at the moment. I know, not looking good. So, hey, but I see a catch up here. So, Steven predicted for number 3 that no game released in 2018 would be in the BGG top 20 games at the end of 2019.
That was a risky statement.
It was a risky statement, and you disagreed, and you even pointed out one of the games or the only game actually that did make it into the top 20, and that was Brass Birmingham. Brass Birmingham is the number 5 game on Board Game Geek and still climbing. Good one. I wanted to be bold. You try to be a little bit bold with these things and see if they're going to happen or not happen. So I did not score a point, but Ignacy, disagreeing with me, did score a point. So 3-2.
We see in these years that if something is a massive hit, the numbers of the copies sold are so huge, it reaches so many people that then this game goes very, very high in the rankings. And back then, if we talk about the industry 10 years ago or 5 years ago, we all remember Agricola being the first game for years, and Twilight Struggle, and nobody believed that Puerto Rico will ever be beaten by anything. And now we have more changes in the top 100 because the print runs of these big games are really, really huge.
Yeah, with the expanding of the industry over the years, the newer players pick up the newer games, and therefore they become the more popular ones in a lot of ways. So, point Ignacy, no point Steven. So we're at 3-2 Steven right now. So Ignacy's making a comeback. Ignacy, what you got next?
I want to say very officially that for this particular prediction, I will be having my lawyer with me because yes, this is very serious. Because I see in the show notes that Steven already gave me 0 point. So my lawyer will start talking to you in a moment. Let's start. So Ignacy said a new board game influencer, reviewer, content creator will emerge on the Twitch, and I said around 1,000 10,000 views a live stream.
Right.
Steven disagrees. Yes, Steven disagrees, and he gave me 0 points. So my lawyer want to mention that because yes, I admit it is a tricky, but I need this point, so I will not, I will not lose it.
Go ahead.
Asmodee has Asmodee Live on Twitch. So this is technically it is not celebrity, but it is board game channel run by celebrities who happen to work for Asmodee, and they had at this very moment this is stats from the 2 years. They started the channel 2 years ago, as I'm watching them, and they have at this point 6 million views. So this is insane number, and for sure they are having like 10,000 views per stream. Now you just have to talk with my lawyer if people working for Asmodee are content creators, reviewers, or influencers. I see changes. Yeah, I see changes.
Who's that?
So on a serious note, so I was wrong that it is not an influencer like Tom Vassar, like a reviewer or the board gamer. It is a company that hired people to create the content, but this content on Twitch has insane number of views. It is very interesting because it's a different demographic. This is younger people. A lot of them play video games and happen to be interested in the board games. So for us, for everybody, for Asmodee, for Steven, for me, for everybody, it is a great news that Asmodee is reaching a new audience, because if these people will play Ticket to Ride and then they will play Splendor, then they will play Terraforming Mars. This is a great news. Now we just have these procedural questions: if this is an influencer, if Asmodee is influencer or not.
I am going to give it to you. I'm going to give you the point because you said a game influencer. It's like they are a content creator, and if they have emerged in the way that you say, and I didn't even not know that at all, then I think you get the point, Ignacy.
Thank you. I talked with the person who works as a manager for this Asmodee Twitch, and I was talking with him, and he told me like this is really huge. This is really huge. I wish I have time and skill to go to Twitch. This is a ton of young people there wanting to learn about the board games, right?
Right. Very good. So we're going to give you that point, and I'm going to be wrong on that one. So I believe we're at 3-3 now.
Nice.
Very good. You've caught up. So for my fourth prediction from last year, I said that Asmodee will announce a major restructuring. For example, layoffs or major title and position changes or divisional changes, and that doesn't include a new Asmodee North American CEO, which because Chris Peterson had just left.
We already knew it, yes.
Right, and of course they have to announce somebody there, so that one was not part of it. But I said there'll be a major restructuring, and Ignacy, I was right. They announced some pretty significant layoffs. There were a bunch of title and position changes that we talked about over the time. The divisions have been collapsed now completely. So I think I should get 2 points for this personally, because this is a major correct statement. And you disagreed with me. So sorry. But
my lawyer agrees with you.
So now it's 4-3, Steven, at this point.
Yeah, and this is interesting because we covered this a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And you even mentioned it in that episode that when they did the changes in the Fantasy Flight Games Interactive and Fantasy Flight Games Role-Playing Games division, and you said it may be just beginning of the many more changes in the whole company. It's an international, huge company, and they will be just adjusting to the situation.
Yeah, and I think we mostly covered it there. But again, so just to reiterate, sort of for the audience and from the business perspective of things, is that when a company like Asmodee is in the business of acquiring companies, this is what they do. Their main business is to acquire companies, to build a bigger and bigger company. It's not really even to publish board games. They acquire companies that do publish board games and do distribute board games and do design board games. They do all of this stuff. They have to, at some point, restructure. It's a standard thing in business. So they did that this year. It was probably the biggest one that they've announced since they started doing this. So I can see much more of this coming. In fact, Ignacy, what was your fourth prediction?
I predicted that there will be major story about some unethical practices in the industry, like exhausting copyright rights, some stealing of ideas, or other very disappointing behavior. And I'm very sorry to report that I won't point, but I'm not very happy about that.
Yeah, it did. It did at least in one regard. We had the J.R. Honeycutt story that came out. There were other legal things that occurred as well. So, and my comment there was that, there are bad people out there, bad operators, and it's unfortunate. But we're in an industry that's growing and more people in it. And the first thing that's going to happen when there's a lot of people that get together is that some people are not going to be as good to people as others. So it did happen. Both of us get a point because I agreed. It is Steven 5-4. Now we get on to number 5, which is our joking, funny prediction. We just take a stab at something crazy. And my prediction was that Portal Games will acquire a company in 2019. And Ignacy, you disagreed. Did you, in the background, acquire a company that I didn't know about?
We did not. Okay. We did not. There are some potential targets, but maybe you were too early with this prediction.
Maybe I was too early. That was a little hint there, I think, boys and girls. Very nice.
Nothing happened.
So 1 point, Ignacy, no point, Steven. At this exact moment, we are tied 5-5. So, Ignacy?
But this is not the final call, because there was one more prediction, and I was wrong, because I said that after he tasted and liked, Steven will go for another merge, but you are very loyal to Travis, and you want only to merge with Travis, so there is only Steven and Travis and no more merges. And I was wrong.
We did. The combined company, Indie Game Studios, did not acquire or merge with another company. And I can't comment any more than that if there were things happening or things could happen, but we did not do that. So drum roll, please. Steven wins the predictions, episode 6-5. So it's pretty close. You've done worse in previous years than that.
Exactly what I was going to say. That was, and I guess people are hearing this. I'm in an amazing mood. I really like these episodes. I think that even if we had points or not had a point, these are the good, interesting perspective in the industry. And if we see some trends too early, or maybe we are misreading what's happening, but I love these episodes, and I love to discuss what may happen in the future. I love it. So I'm losing, but I'm happy.
But now we get on to what's going to happen in 2020. So this is the 2020 predictions. Here we go. What does Steven and Ignacy think are going to happen this year? So here's a funny thing. So as I was writing my predictions down, I was doing this on the airplane. I was coming back from New York City yesterday. I had to go there for a friend's 60th birthday party. So I'm on my way back, and I'm like, I got to get ready for this episode because Ignacy's going to kill me if I'm not ready. And I literally had all of these negative predictions down, and I'm like, I cannot get on a show with 4 negative predictions or something like that. So I changed some of my stuff around to make some negative and some positive, some very funny and some very positive. My first prediction is, and it's a good one, a female designer will design a game published in 2020 that will be in the top 5 rated games of 2020, using the BGG rating system as usual. So I think that, and what I'm trying to say, right, it's like the year of the woman, I think. And I think we're going to have a woman designer, one of the top 5 games that come out during the year. She will design one of those games.
I will disagree with you. Mostly for purpose of the game show. Mostly to make a diverse answer so I can score some points. Of course, I will keep my fingers crossed so I can lose this point. We had this amazing Wingspan lady Elizabeth who won Spiel des Jahres last year, so it was brilliant. I met her. Person. She's amazing, absolutely. I myself hired last year Janna Kijanka, my developer, She's amazing. So I give full support. Let it be true. But for the game show purposes, and I want to win this show, I will try to disagree with you to have some chances to score points.
All right. Okay, that's fair. I like the way you're doing that. All right, Ignacy, what is your first? And he, by the way, everybody, you can't see our show notes, of course, but Ignacy wrote like in shorthand here, so I'm gonna have to like edit this so that I can, next year make sure we understand exactly what he's saying. So what is this crazy first prediction you have here?
You are our hero to make it. We appreciate that. Before I start, I wanted to give like a general description of my prediction. So I have three predictions that are quite serious. One that is mean and so serious, but is my mean commentary for the part of the industry. And of course, the fifth one is a funny one, as always. Okay. So my serious prediction is that we will have a new Kickstarter phenomenon this year. My main prediction here is that the Frosthaven, this new Gloomhaven, right? The Frosthaven will reach top 10. I think it's too easy. Let's say top 6 of the most funded board game Kickstarters in the history. So Isaac will not reach the top 10. He will reach top 6 of the most funded Kickstarters in the industry. My hopes, this is of course more than hopes than actual facts, but my hopes is that we will see also emerge of like a new Kickstarter big company like Simon, like Awaken Realms, like Monolith, like we'll see some new company. But my main prediction that I want to be scored for is that the Frosthaven will be like a major blast this year.
All right. Yeah, I don't think you're really going out on a limb here, I want to say. So you're saying...
No. If I said top 10, it will be easy, but I said top 6. This is harder.
So it'll be the top 6 Kickstarters of all time, right?
Yeah.
Of
Yes.
gaming Kickstarters.
Of course.
Of all time. I think you're going to be right. But for the sake of the show and points, I will disagree. But again, Isaac's awesome, and I wish him the best, and I hope he does do that, and he does get into the top 6. So disagree, but I'm gonna root against myself. Okay, so here we go with my first negative one. This is a negative one. I did say. And this is, kind of something that Ignacy was getting at. I hope this is not one of the ones you put down there. Okay, because we never compare our notes.
I cannot wait for my comment. Start.
Okay, I said that at least one noted hobby board game publisher will go out of business in 2020. I had it with distribution, and I just went, you know what? I'm going to go with the publisher. One noted. So we're gonna debate noted, of course. I think next year if something happens, but they'll go out of business in 2020. They'll leave the industry. They can't make enough money. The word bankruptcy is weird because some of these companies, are not corporations, but they will leave they will stop publicly and mention they're not going to be producing board games.
So my first statement, my first comment is that Steven joined Asmodee in the club of people ripping my ideas. Because that was my prediction from the last year.
Well, I don't see it in this prediction from this year, so I'm taking this one.
Yeah, I sadly agree with you. What I read in the forums, both the public forums, both the board game publishers forums on Facebook, when I discuss with the Luke, the hobby is in a difficult place right now. And it needs a ton of right operating right now to survive. The one thing is that it may be the case that we will not even see that somebody is out of the business. They will just slowly stop, publishing games and just vanish. But basically, once again, fingers crossed that we are wrong. But this is a difficult time for the industry. That's for sure.
Yep, we hope it doesn't.
My prediction is in a similar vein. I think this is the word that I should use. So my prediction is that we will see I called it, and I'm not a native speaker, so be with me. I called it safe bet releases. And what I mean is that publishers will go for the releasing games that are new version of the old hit, so there's nothing to risk, just going to the audience that already love this hit and being like very cautious with what we are releasing this year. And as example, what I mean is that a few days ago, Z-Man Games announced releasing a new pandemic game. So this is a very safe release. They are having a new game in the catalog. They are putting a new game out there. But basically, it is just pandemic with a few changes, new cover, new title, and once again, say it again. I call it safe release. And to be very precise with my prediction, I say that we will see at least 10 games. At least 10 games released from the publishers that we can honestly with Steven call safe bet, like it was no risk. If we can talk about my own company, we can say that Portal Games released the game Detective, very popular, and for this year we are releasing Detective Season 1. So this is like a simpler version of Detective. This is a safe bet release, right? I don't need to promote it as a new title. It's just for the fans who love Detective. Hey, you have a new game, but it's very, very similar. So I call it the year of the safe releases. No risking and not looking for something revolutionary. Just survive.
So you think 10 games will be like this, right? 10 games will be based on like a current I think that they already have.
Yes, I think that this prediction would be, it is obvious, it is no-brainer, but if I call it that we will see 10 games that we can name, yes, Pandemic was like a re-release, like Detective 1 is just basically is a re-release. Like we will name 10 such a games that is the year of the safe bet releases.
I mean, you're 100% right that that's going to happen. You've quantified it with 10 releases. I want to see you going and finding all 10 of these things next year. It's going to be fun for you to try to do. It's going to happen in one of many different ways. There are going to be, like you said, there's going to be the ones where they base it on an IP. There's going to be, we're going to only release games, a very limited number of games, and market the heck out of them. So I'm going to agree with you on one level or another. This is coming true that there'll be a lot less.
I would call that it will be a less exciting year for the gamers. Because they would say, oh, it's just new Pandemic, oh, just new Detective. Like, less excitement before this Gen Con, before this Essen. But for us, for the publishers, it is like, just don't be crazy, just release something that sells already well and go for it, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to agree with you. So that might make it a less exciting year, as you said, but there could be plenty of good things based on current IPs. So
absolutely.
So my number 3 is a really good one.
My lawyer is already having some questions. Beware.
So I predict that another major player, a huge company, so you can think like Asmodee size, give or take, could be somewhat smaller, could even be bigger, will emerge and be a major force in hobby gaming in 2020.
So my lawyer wants to ask you if Studio Hachette from France that started buying companies last year is in this production or it is out of this production? Because in France it's getting very, very, very crazy right now. They just bought, as you remember, Black Rock Games. They bought Studio H. So you are meaning with Hachette or without Hachette?
You caught me. You caught me. That is exactly who I was thinking of. Because right now I think they certainly are making a splash, but I don't think that they're truly a major player. But okay, so you know what? Let me rephrase. But okay, I'd like it to be another major player, but it could be specific. It can be, and I'm thinking specifically Hachette.
Okay.
Becoming a major player, that we can argue how the major player is by the end of the year. So Are you?
I think yes, we will see that very clearly. Like either they are just releasing major hits one after another and buying companies or not.
Right.
And I'm not sure if I agree.
Okay.
So we know that Hatchet is starting to be in play. The question is once again if you are maybe not patient enough, if it is enough for them to be this major player in 2020, because
Right.
we know that they started learning about the industry and buying these small companies or founding the new studios in 2019. The question is if in 2020 they will already be this major player that Asmodee will be terrified and they will be having major presence at Gen Con or major presence at Essen. Last year at Essen they had a very small booth. Mm-hmm. So they were already a big company, but they had not yet this influence on the market. So for the sake of the game show, I will disagree with you, and I think that the next year when we record the show, we will have lawyers with us, both of us, and they will discuss if it was a major influence on the market or not. So we both know they entered the market, and now we will see if they become second Asmodee or they're just preparing to become second Asmodee in 3 or 5 years, right?
Very good. Okay, I like that. What is your third prediction?
So my third prediction is once again, this is the same narration we are building here, and I will do the math because it will involve some calculation. My bet is that this Gen Con we will have 20, I can even go like no 20 is enough. We will have 20% less new releases. By new releases I mean the game released at Gen Con. So we are not talking about the demo games, not talking about some Kickstarter announcement prototypes. The games that were released at Gen Con 2019, I will get this geek list from Board Game Geek, and then I will compare the geek list for the 2020. I will count the numbers of new releases, the games that you were able to buy at the floor of the Gen Con, and I think that there will be less releases this Gen Con. I see strongly. I love it.
So I just typed into the show, disagree strongly, and I made it an 18-point font. I get it, and I think that that's what should happen, Ignacy. Absolutely should happen. But sadly, how do I put this? People are dumb. Publishers are not. They're not going to get it yet. Some of obviously some of them do. I've been talking about it, and you've been talking about less releases, but I don't think that enough publishers will get it yet. And I think that you are going to have the new publishers who either have the one Kickstarter or just starting to get in, or they're going to double down this year. They're going to take up the slack. I'm gonna make a side prediction with you here, and I'll say that the number of new releases at Gen Con will be no less than 5% less, and could be more. But that doesn't count as the prediction, so I'll just call it a little side prediction: 5% less or more.
We will see in a few months.
We will see. All right, my fourth prediction is the last of the serious ones. Only one game published in 2019 will be in the top 100 games on Board Game Geek by the end of 2020. So this was similar to last year's prediction, where I said we're not going to have one in the top 20, not even one, and there was one. I lost that one. This time I'm saying there'll be only one game published in 2019, all of last year, that will be in the top 100 games on Board Game Geek by the end of 2020.
Steven?
Yes?
Prepare the bigger font. Ignacy disagrees strongly.
Okay, I'm going to type it in. Disagree strongly. Okay, you can't change that, right? So...
No.
Did you look?
On a serious note, no, I did not look, but there was a couple of amazing games released last year, and I no, come on, more than one has to be in the top 100. I disagree so much stronger than you disagreed strongly. Like my is so much more stronger than your disagreement.
Okay,
There'll be like 10. I would say. Well, my side prediction. I'm tapping my side prediction. Like you were so wrong here.
Okay, type a side prediction. What's your side prediction? There's going to be 3 of them?
5.
5 from 2019 will be the top 100 games. So how about this, Ignacy? Maybe we make a little bit of a bet. Okay, he's putting some interesting games in here. We won't even mention them yet. We'll do it for next year. But okay, interesting. Could we make like a slight bet? Like if I'm right, you'll have a beer with me sometime in the future?
Me?
Yes, you will have a beer with me sometime in the future.
And that means that you drink beer and I drink beer, or that means you drink beer and I drink tea?
No, beer or any
Beer.
other.
Beer is not very tasty, but I will win this. Okay, so if I lose, I have a beer with you. I will not lose, so I can do it. I can bet.
You're gonna have a beer with me.
If I lose this bet, I will have a beer with you.
Excellent. Love it. Okay, go to, without even looking at anything else, go right to prediction number 4, Ignacy, on your side. What do you got?
I have to prepare, like build a narration, because this is the moment when Ignacy is mean, when Ignacy is cynical, when Ignacy has to say this funny but ironic comment on the industry. So I'm very sorry for being Slavic and being from Poland. But my prediction is that this year, and I will count it every single week, this year at Board Games Insider, we will cover news about Gamma, organization Gamma, and the ratio of news about transfers in their board directors whatsoever, and the news about them doing something good for the industry will be 5-1. So 5 news about new people in the board members, and 1 news about they did something, like change something. I'm so disappointed last year what we were discussing, just transfers, that this is my mean comment and my message. Gamma is not listening to us, I guess, but hey guys, please go do something for our hobby that is having a trouble. We are talking about this podcast for a long time. Our industry is crowded, there is so much noise, there's so much problems in the industry, and all I hear from the Gamma is that they just hired a new director and fired new director and had a voting for the new director. Give us help and not just chairs.
Okay. Because of my love of the industry and my undying support for the only party that could possibly help us do anything, and anything could be from helping us import games, right? Working on reduction in tariffs. They could do so much if they tried and things worked out well. And I've offered some support to do some things with them, and not yet happened. I'm going to disagree. I certainly hope that I'm right, that we get multiple great things that happen, that Gamma does, and then a few things about their hirings and stuff.
On a serious note, because of course there's like some sort of funny commentary of what was going on in the past months. But on a serious note, the thing that struck me the most in the past months, when there was a situation with the tariffs and President Trump somehow threatening our industry with the tariffs, and we were not covering the news that Gamma is, supporting us, doing anything to negotiate. We were covering the news that the toy organization is doing that. Yes, and there was negotiations with the Trump or whatever, somebody, and it was not Gamma who stepped in.
That's a very good point.
And I was so
very good point.
And I was so disappointed that our industry is having this problem, and we are still covering the changes in the members. So,
okay, very good one, Ignacy. And now we get to the funny predictions. And you see, you didn't look a little bit further down here.
I'm saying it right now. You misspelled my name second time today. I was looking at
it, but the more important thing is my funny prediction was that Tom Vassell or Jeff Anderson, he runs Board Game Geek conventions and cruises, or Ignacy Trzewiczek will have a drink, like a beer with me, in 2020. Now, all 3 of these gentlemen are they are teetotalers. They do not imbibe in beers or other alcoholic beverages, but my prediction is that one of them will, and I just have made the side bet that hopefully will then make this one correct. How smart am I? Now, I didn't expect you to do that, so it just worked out really well.
I will, of course, disagree with you because there's so many levels. First of all, you will lose the previous bet, so I'm not.
There you go.
I don't have to drink beer with you. I mean, I'd love to if I love beer.
Yes.
I guess that if you tell Tom Vassell that you have to drink beer with him to win the bet, he will never drink beer with you.
This is true.
And as for Jeff Anderson, my hopes in Jeff are that he will allow me to win this point. So I will just send him email. Don't drink with Steven this year.
No, you cannot. You cannot do that. Jeff won't. I'm pretty sure Jeff or Tom will not. But I think I might have got this. I might win this bet. This will be really funny. All right. So what's the final funny bet that you have here? Funny prediction.
My hopefully a little bit funny bet is that Steven is a liar again because he promised us that he will release less games this year than the last year, and he promises this every single year as long as I know him. That is 4 years. So once again, Steven is lying, and my prediction is you have to give numbers. So my prediction is that Steven will release more than 25 products this year.
25 products with the Stronghold Games logo
Yes.
will come out this year. And Steven will disagree pretty strongly with that
We
one.
will see. We will
Pretty
see.
strongly.
Because
Not as strongly as the other one, but pretty darn strongly. No. We're already scheduled to do a lot less games. So I really think that and again, I don't even know, right? I don't even know the number myself.
That's exactly what I'm hoping for. Like you're announcing these games, and then you'll meet with your partners from Europe, and they have this amazing game, and you say, "Wow, this is amazing! I need to publish it." And then things happen. So at this point, I do believe that you believe that you will not do this.
All right.
But later on, things may happen. So this is my funny prediction.
I'm gonna, again, this doesn't count for the predictions, but I'm gonna say, like, I think that we're gonna see definitely under 20. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna say
19.
I'm gonna say under. Yeah, no, I'm gonna say under 15. 15 or under. 15 or under. But
all our listeners are making fun of you right now. Like nobody believes that.
Well, it doesn't. All I have to do is beat you on the bet. That's what matters. The other thing is just maybe. We'll see what happens. All right. So everybody out there, thank you. This was our predictions for 2020. I hope you enjoyed that. We're gonna have a little mini playtesting segment here that I just thought of. I put here in the show notes. So
Very great idea. Yes, great.
let's cut into playtesting.
Playtesting, where Ignacy and Steven question you.
Okay, so for our playtesting segment where we question you, the question is, what do you think of our predictions? I mean, you're listening, you're saying, Bonacore, you're an idiot, Ignacy, you're intelligent. Whatever you think, we'll put that question out there in our guild on Board Game Geek and comment on them. Comment on how wonderful and amazing a predictor Steven is and how crazy Ignacy is. He's always wrong, or vice versa. And give us some of your predictions too. Do you have any ideas about things that you think might happen? And hopefully we'll see them and we'll comment on them too. Let's go to the final scoring.
Final scoring. Here's how you can stay in touch with Ignacy and Steven.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Help spread the word of Board Games Insider to your friends. They can download it everywhere that podcasts are available. This was our very special predictions episode, and we're so excited to do this every year. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed doing it. To ask us questions for our normal episodes, when we do the strategy and tactics segment, please post them in the correct forum on our Board Game Geek Guild. We have a Facebook page that has been getting many, many more hits lately because we've been posting a lot of stuff. So go to Facebook/Board Games Insider and check us out there. Of course, both companies have Facebook pages /Stronghold Games and /Portal Publishing. The company websites are strongholdgames.com and portalgames.pl and portalgamesus.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters, keep in touch with us even more. You want to talk directly to Steven or Ignacy on Twitter? This is the best place. It's @StrongholdGames and @Chevicek. And on Instagram, same exact ones. And we both have YouTube channels. Want to see us at an upcoming convention? I put all my conventions here. Notice, Ignacy.
No, oh my God.
Three big, very special guest of honor conventions for me. I won't even read them. But this week alone, I'm going to Boston for Total Confusion Con. I can't wait to see everybody there. That'll be wonderful. And then Dice Tower Con West right after that, and the Gamma Trade Show after that. More things happening right after that. So that's it. Ignacy, anything you want to mention about convention appearances?
No, Ignacy is not going anywhere. Ignacy is staying in the office and trying to work on this new design. So now for me, it's like a calm time to just stay in the zone for writing new stuff.
Very good, very good. Everybody out there, please share your love for Board Games Insider with your friends. And if you have a podcast and you want it edited professionally by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast, he'll do it for you. Contact him at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Board Games Insider with Ignacy Cevicek and Stephen Buonocore. Board Games Insider has been made possible by you, our listeners and hobby board game enthusiasts. Ignacy and Stephen thank you greatly for your support of their companies and the hobby board game industry. Follow both Portal Games and Stronghold Games on Twitter, like both companies on Facebook, and sign up for their newsletters on portalgames.pl and strongholdgames.com. Please join us next time on Board Games Insider.
You're listening to the Dice Tower Network, the home of smart people, insightful board gaming commentary, and Stephen Buonocore. Find out more at dicetowernetwork.com.